So Tom, the phenomena is that the fire service is continuing to go on more calls. And this trend has been going on for a long period of time and continues to go. But the resources available to fire departments maintains the same. So what you have is a situation where fire departments are being asked to do more with the same resources. And as they're taking a look at the resources, they're trying to take a look at how they quantify those resources. And the constituents that their customers are, people, citizens, when they think about the fire service, they're thinking about fires. They're thinking about competing priorities in departments. So they have the need for fire, they have the need for public protection, they have the need for good schools, public parks, and they see that fires are down. And I think that one of the challenges is that when they're taking a look at these competing budgets, they may not be focused on the fire service, even though they have a lot more responsibilities.
I think that's a really good point because fire activity is down, and that's what you associate fire departments with. But the actual responses from the fire department, because they're really not fire departments anymore, they're emergency service departments now. They do so much more than they've ever done in the past. Now, we've seen EMS in the fire service for a very long time, since the 60s actually, and that's grown throughout the country, but it's grown slowly. Some places in the country, they don't do EMS service yet, where the great majority of the fire service does. They've gone and expanded their roles even further into community risk reduction. After the 1970s and America burning, fire departments realized they had to start preventing fires. And they did that through fire prevention. Now it's more all-encompassing, and it's called community risk reduction. And then they've added the technical skills that no one was providing before: hazardous material responses, technical rescue responses, urban search and rescue for disasters. So fire departments are not fire departments anymore. They're not your dad's fire department. They're emergency service providers. But you hit the same point. They're doing all of this with the same resources they've had, except with some expansion where they have opportunities for revenue.
Do you think that their customers, their constituents, the general public, do you think that they're aware of that, all these changes that the fire service is doing right now that's benefiting them?
No, they're really not. And they're also not aware of how the fire service impacts their insurance. They're not aware of that at all. They really don't have an idea that fire departments are graded and they're scored, and that score has an impact on what they pay for insurance. And the benefit to the community, if the fire department gets a better grading, there's more savings in their insurance. They don't even realize that. Part of that's the fire service's fault for not getting out there and explaining it and advertising it and being involved. But other is just people don't have the time. So they just expect the service, they know the service is there, and that's how they do it.
Right, right. Now you mentioned before revenue and the notion of revenue, and the fire department's trying to obtain more revenue. And what I've been impressed with is the fact that as the service is taking on more responsibilities, it's really made the service more efficient. So you have the stations, you have the apparatus, you have the firefighters, and you're having them go on more responsibilities, more incidents. So it's making them a lot more efficient. And what's more is that the calls that they're going on is actually generating revenue. So it is kind of defraying some of the potentially increased costs associated with those incremental calls.
It is, and some of the newer services they're providing, the emergency medical, the technical rescue, the hazardous material, they're reimbursable. They're reimbursable either through insurance or through the actual industry or person that caused that pays for that. It's almost like a user fee, where the fire service is not reimbursable, or the fire department does not get paid for going to putting out a fire. And that's one of the big differences. And so they still have to be extremely cost-effective and efficient in their fire portion. Even though it's a smaller portion of what they do, there's not enough revenue to be generated by all the others to cover the fire side.
And I think that's the crux of the challenge. I mean, the public sees that, was it 4% or so, less than 5% of calls across the country are focused on fire, but firefighters are spending a third of their time on these fires, and to your point, it's very difficult to articulate what the value is that the fire service is providing with regards to a fire that doesn't happen.
Right.
With regards to property saved, can be difficult to quantify. The insurance savings. These are really difficult things to quantify that I think absolutely have to be done in order for fire departments to justify their budgets, grant applications, fundraising drives, things of that nature.
And, you know, that's one way to explain to the public exactly what service they're getting. If you could actually take a community and show what would happen if there was no fire service and what the financial impact on that community would be, then they'd have a better understanding what they're paying for to have that fire service.